I'm Brian Sampson.
And I'm Steve Ulmer.
And this is a Mainline Solutions Short. Steve and I were talking about automation. Steve, tell me, what is it that you've been having conversations with clients about automation?
So lots of our clients have lots of automation tools, and they just don't have a good idea about where to start creating an automation project or implementing automation in their enterprise. So we talked to them about that a little bit and try and help them along. So one of the things to remember is that automation is really about reducing processes to code. So why would you want to do that, right? Well, code is an asset. You could shut code into source control. You can roll it back, you can roll it forward. So if you think about implementing processes and even your infrastructure as code, well, now you have a versioned infrastructure and versioned processes. That's a very powerful way to operate your enterprise.
Gotcha. And is that the same as orchestration?
So I like to separate those two, right? So orchestration is strategic. It's about the big picture, and it's about getting multiple actors to do things in a specific workflow, right? Automation is a little bit more about rubber meets the road.
So why is it that some automation projects fail?
So this is really kind of interesting. The primary reason that automation projects fail is that the enterprise doesn't know what they're doing. Now, that sounds kind of harsh, but that's not. I don't really mean it that way. It's that you have to understand what the point of the project is, and at the end of the day, this boils down to requirements definition and will. Right? You have to really want to do it, and you have to want to do it as a whole. And so that's one of the reasons, right? The next is a lack of real executive participation, right? And I don't mean sponsorship, right? Sponsorship's about writing a check, right? So your executive can have this project in his portfolio and really be checked out about it and wait for it to be done. That's not going to work, right? You need participation to hold people accountable for very clear requirements definition. You need them to participate in replays. It's not a lot of time. It's 15 minutes, maybe 15 minutes a week. And you can have such a better result because everyone is really aware that they're accountable for what they're trying to do.
So the executive rubber stamp isn't enough. They need to have hands-on managing of that project, at least at touch points along the way.
Yes, specifically at touch points. You have project managers managing the implementation, but you absolutely, the actors have to understand that the executives have an expectation so that they can try to meet it.
Got it. So what is an example of a successful implementation?
Well, so the way you can be successful, we find in our clients that are successful and things that we've done in the past where we've done a good job, is to experiment, right? Experiment and try bottom up, right? We talked about earlier about orchestration being a little bit different than automation and having different concerns. Well, if you're gonna start with automation, go where the rubber meets the road. Implement one or two things, one or two processes, or one or two, make your hosts file the same on every box you've got. Make your DNS configuration the same across every box that your group manages. Little tiny things like that, so you don't have to go back and fix them later. But that gives you the confidence really to move forward and to show that you can, in fact, make the machine to do stuff with your tool, which is the point, right?
Gotcha.
So the next thing is you're going to have special cases, always. Try not to let the tail wag the dog, right? Don't try and make your implementation plan include every special case. Know there's going to be some, because otherwise you'll never get off the starting line. You'll never move anything forward. You'll spend the entire time trying to figure out how to configure the tool rather than do work.
Got it.
Another one is to plan, but only a little, right? We know that you're going to want to do some orchestration later. We know that maybe your organization is going to implement ServiceNow or BPM at some point. So you need to be aware that that's going to happen, and you need to not preclude that, but don't worry about it to start with, because if you do, you're not going to get out of your own way.
Got it.
Right?
Okay.
And finally, the culture of the organization, right? Automation is cultural just as much as technical. So if the culture of the organization doesn't embrace the idea that we're going to try and do infrastructure as code, or we're going to try and make processes that may be manual now, maybe people do that as their job. Well, maybe they'll have a different job. It'll be a more interesting job, we hope, right? But don't be concerned about the automation.
I can't want to try and hold on to my own area
No,
of
you
expertise.
absolutely- yes,
I've got to
yeah.
be thinking about the entire organization and what we want to get to.
And as you take your area of expertise and you work on automating it, you really become even more valuable, right? You really become the part of the source of truth for that in your enterprise, and it's good. It's generally good for careers.
So how can Mainline help with these potholes that you've outlined?
So we're really good at helping customers identify their requirements and sort of sort out what can and can't be done and what does and doesn't make sense for what they say they want to accomplish. And we're also pretty good at looking at the processes and understanding that the processes may or may not actually support the initiatives. It's shocking, actually, how often businesses don't have processes that support the initiatives at all. And we're good at putting together technology that supports the better process. So we can help with coding, we can help with identification, we can help with whatever part is necessary, even helping build the tools or helping install the tools.
Got it.
And if we don't have that, we certainly have a set of partners that we can engage and make it as seamless as possible for the customer.
Well, it sounds like if you're heading down an automation road, you should get in touch with Mainline and we can help you out. Again, I'm Brian Sampson,
And I'm Steve Ulmer.
and this has been a Mainline Solutions Short.